And Jesus' longest recorded sermon in the Gospels is what? The Sermon on the... And it's 3 chapters. Matthew 6 and 7. So 5, 6, and 7. That's his longest recorded sermon. And I'm glad that, it's just kind of there for us. Because in the Sermon on the Mount, all of it is about Jesus stressing you need to get to know your Father in heaven, your Father in heaven, your Father in heaven, your Father in heaven. He says it over and over. But in Revelation, we get to see him. And we see all that he's doing. In fact, Revelation, all 25 attributes of our Father in heaven are displayed by Jesus Christ. See, that's the purpose of Revelation. Remember that from 9 times ago when we started this? That the revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave him to show us. Why? Because Jesus said, if you've seen the Father, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. So the way to see the Father who is invisible is seeing him. So Jesus distills down the way that we are to live in the most well-known passage. Did you know that 1.2 billion people have memorized the same 5 verses? In fact, it's more well-known than John 3:16. It's more well-known than the 23rd Psalm. It's what 1.2 billion Roman Catholics recite all the time in the liturgy. We call it the Lord's Prayer. It's the most well-known, most completely memorized part of the Bible by more people than ever in history, and it has been for centuries. And yet, because of that, it's become the least maybe understood part. The Lord's Prayer is revealing our Father in heaven more completely than any other part of the Bible. And Revelation reveals what the Lord's Prayer is about. We see him in heaven on his throne, surrounded by all the angels and the saints. He's ruling the universe. And Jesus said in the Lord's Prayer, I want you connected to him. I remember parenting. Parenting's great. When you have one child, you have one hand to hold them. When you have 2 children, you have 2 hands to hold them. Either one, your wife's holding one, you're holding one, so it's all great. You have 3, then you got to choose who's going to hold 2 hands. We exceeded 4, and when you have your 5th child, you can't hold their hand. And it's very challenging because, you got to protect them, you got to keep together in crowds. But what I noticed is children don't like to hold your hands. They want to be independent. They want to just go everywhere. But as soon as there would be a crash of thunder or a flash of lightning or some siren, they come and find you and hold your hand. And they go like this. Because whenever a child feels threatened or weak or insecure, they want to hold on to someone like Ryan. He is like the protector. And he would make, in another career, a great bodyguard, to go around with a big Uzi, strapped in a side holster there. But that's what God wants us to be. He wants us to, when we feel threatened, when we feel insecure, when we feel weak, when we feel unsure, or when we really want to do the right thing, hold on to his hand. That's what the Lord's Prayer is all about. And today we're going to learn how to get securely connected to our Father in heaven, because the most secure place for us to be, we're weak and we're needy, is connected to our Father. Now, when I was teaching this at another Bible Institute that did not have all of the fancy stuff you have here and in New York, I was teaching on a whiteboard. And so I took a picture of it because I want you to see Revelation. When you look at Revelation at the whole thing, most people just are looking at the map of the end of the world, and it's confusing and everything. Other people focus on the church and the 7 letters. Actually, the way God, his plan for Revelation to impact us is, he starts out introducing Jesus as God the Son. Jesus as the image of God with all the attributes of God, as the creator, the redeemer, and the judge. And he said that is what Revelation is about. But within it, it's about we as his church and how he wants us to live in an ever-darkening evil world. And then when you understand who Jesus is and who we are, then the map of the end of the world, all it means is it's a continuation that Jesus is going to keep everything under control. Jesus has everything he wants us to do to please him, and we don't even need to worry about the ending. And yet most people, they're all worried about it. In fact, there's a whole branch of Christendom that spend all of their time trying to figure out if something on television is a conspiracy or if something in product packaging, and they're going to boycott, and they're going to avoid. And this all came out so much in the last couple of years. And it's divided Christendom because they're all trying, or some are trying to stop the Antichrist from coming. And they're going to stop him in any way they can. And I thought, you're going to stop the Antichrist from coming? It's God's plan. If you would step back and look at the image of the eternal Creator, Redeemer God and focus on what he left you here on this earth to do, you wouldn't be thinking your purpose on earth is to stop the ever-encroaching signs of Satan's rule on earth, which are all the digitalization, all the surveillance, and all the everything.